Hey there, Jordan Langdon here. Would it surprise you that just a 30-minute huddle once a week with the people you live with could have a significant positive impact on the way you function and feel about each other? Listen, from personal experience, I can tell you it is possible. Check this out. Our family has officially had over 200 family huddles. That's right, over 3 years of weekly huddles. And I can tell you it's been a game changer. I want to help you set up your family huddle so you have the best possible outcomes right away. After that, I will explain the three main components of the huddle itself. And finally, I'll share my own personal story about the benefits of keeping these going week to week. And then I'm going to give you some specific tips for achieving this in your family right away. From my experience as a clinical social worker, one of the primary problems in families is the breakdown of communication. And this is what tends to bring families into counseling. And when we stop communicating effectively in family life, we shut down and disengage, and everyone begins to drift apart, doing their own thing. And then the result of that is a lack of belonging and a bit of chaos. With division among family members, either mom or dad will naturally take on a majority of the work around the house, and then they end up carrying the burden of the calendar all on their own. Often, one person has to shoulder the entire mental burden of who's going where, when. Kids are then dependent on their parents to tell them what's happening next. Talk about burnout and stress for parents, and anxiety, frustration, and lack of connection and belonging for children. A family huddle unites everyone in a common goal. To be specific, when everyone is aware of the family calendar and everyone is working together on one common goal in the home, the result is less nagging and yelling, a clear understanding of the activities and events on the family calendar, and shared responsibilities around the house. People quickly begin to see how they fit and belong in the family, and a sense of family identity begins to form. Does that sound good to you? Is that something that you would like? I know I was desperate for that about 4 years ago when I was the one carrying the burden of the family calendar and was barking out orders to our kids who were clueless about what was going on from day to day and week to week. The disconnection between my husband and I and the chaos and strained relationship with my kids had become too much. We knew we had to do something different. That's when the family huddle came into play. But before we get into the family huddle, let's just imagine our workplace for a minute. I want you to consider where you work, where you experience organized communication and intentional meeting time together. Can you imagine a meeting free workplace? Let's take a minute to imagine that. What would it be like in the workplace if we eliminated all meetings? I know that sounds like a dream to most of us, but let's be real and take a look at what it would actually be like with absolutely no meetings. Okay, take away the quarterly planning meetings. No more of those. Cancel the monthly all hands on deck meeting. Those meetings where everyone's encouraged to speak up and share what's going well and what's not. And no more weekly team meetings where you circle up on more immediate front burner, hot, timely issues. And let's even cancel your one-to-one meeting with your supervisor where you get that personalized feedback and direction about how you are succeeding and what you can do to improve. Imagine that. If we eliminated all those meetings, how would your team function? How would you get projects finished? How connected would you feel if you were simply told what to do, but never had intentional face-to-face time to connect with the members on your team or discuss progress or challenges? And what if no one communicated to you what you had to do to be considered successful on your team? What if you had no idea how your actions and behaviors impacted your team or your organization overall? I think we can all agree that would be disastrous. That's why successful organizations prioritize team meetings and work to make them efficient and effective. That's why time and attention is spent in the workplace on team building activities, right? Communication is key to success and connection. And that's true not only at work, but in family life too. We want our family to be successful and connected. So let me just unpack that a bit to be specific about what it means to be successful in a family. That we are celebrating our individual talents and our skills while working together as a team in order to grow and get better together. Success in family life means having a common mission, a common goal to be improving so that we are truly living lives that exemplify goodness, kindness, respect, responsibility, an attitude of gratitude, self-control, and generosity. Success in family life means creating that family culture where everyone feels connected and feels they belong. Success in family life is not possible without intentional communication on a consistent basis. Communicating on the fly doesn't work. We've all done it and can attest that it ends up in nagging, arguing, frustration, and usually tears. Consistent, intentional communication is the glue that binds us in our relationships. So let's jump right into how to get your family huddle started. Just like it is at the office, if you don't schedule it, it won't happen. Before you gather your family for your first huddle, choose a simple goal to rally around for the next few weeks. The goal should be something positive and growth oriented. At Families of Character, we're all about strengthening our character, becoming better in skills like organization, respect, responsibility, forgiveness, self-control, gratitude, and generosity. The reason it's important to embrace a goal like this is so everyone is dialed in on growing and becoming better, not just as an individual, but for the greater good of the entire family. And an easy way to choose a goal for the month is to simply think about the one thing that's driving you most nuts. Maybe your kids are talking back. That's disrespect. So the overarching goal would be to work on. Now, maybe things are disorganized and messy around your house, or people are chronically late getting out the door. So the goal would be on becoming more organized. This is the overarching goal. Now, remember, just like at work, a company communicates its overarching goal in positive terms versus saying, we are getting horrible reviews from our customers. Our goal is to try not to get 3 stars. No, instead, they say, we are going for 5-star reviews, and this is how we plan to get 5 stars, right? Same in family life. Focusing on the problem, like talking back or being messy, we're going to present in our family huddle a positive goal to focus in on and encourage each other to make progress towards that positive goal. So once you have a goal in mind, these are the 3 steps or the 3 C's that are going to transform your family. You're going to connect consistently, communicate the calendar, and rally around a common goal. Connect, communicate, common goal. So connect consistently. In step 1, you'll prioritize, plan, and participate. Now, what do I mean by that? Prioritize. First, you have to commit to having family huddles and that this is important. And you have to schedule a huddle when all members of your family can attend. Again, much like the workplace, you need all hands on deck to make your huddle meaningful for all involved. And then you're going to plan. Pick a day and time each week to have your entire family together. We chose Sundays at 6:30 p.m., but you can pick whatever works best for you and your family based on your schedule. You'll need to reserve about 30 minutes on your calendar. Now, once you've chosen your day and time, Then communicate the day and time to all members of your family, and then remind them the day before and the day of. Little tip, schedule a day and time and just go ahead and put it on the calendar, and then schedule it out 4 weeks at a time so that you commit and get into a rhythm. Committing to having your huddle on the very same day and generally the same time each week helps everyone consistently show up. And then when the calendar reminder comes up, you have to follow through and participate. Now comes time for everyone to gather together for your first huddle. You announce, hey guys, we're going to start having a family huddle every week. This will help us be better prepared for what's coming next on our calendar. And we can also focus in on being more of a team, being on the same page and growing together so that we can be better today than we were yesterday and ultimately have a lot more fun. Let's get things started by looking at our family calendar so we all know what's happening next week. Guys, there's your script for kicking off your first family huddle. Then you're going to communicate the calendar. Do a simple weekly review. You're going to review your family calendar by displaying it. If you use a digital calendar, try to display it by casting it onto your TV so it's enlarged and everyone can see the details of the week. If you use a whiteboard, gather around that calendar as the activities of each day. Now, if you're still using a paper calendar, I want to encourage you to consider using one of these other 2 methods in addition to your paper calendar so that you're not the only one keeping up with the activities on the family calendar. Remember, our goal is to improve communication so you aren't the only one carrying the burden and responsibilities. Guys, the way we spend our time defines us as individuals and as a family. So that's why communicating the family calendar is vital in unifying your family. Making sure kids can look at the calendar and listen to a discussion about what's happening in the next 7 days makes all the difference in how they begin to prepare for their own activities and then offer to pitch in when others have things going on. So engaging both those senses, looking and listening, really helps your kids retain the information and feel connected. And maybe you have really young kids who aren't even reading yet. Talking them through the days of the week and the activities and pointing to the calendar will help them get in the habit of being oriented to a calendar, to the day, date, and events going on. It's even better if you can start this when your kids are around 3 years old. Now, the third step after reviewing the calendar is to define your common goal and commit to action. If we just have a goal to be more organized or more respectful, well, we've defined our goal, but we haven't committed to what we are going to do to achieve that goal. And setting the goal for the month doesn't really mean anything without a plan. There's a saying, a goal without a plan is just a wish. So step 3 is all about committing to one daily actionable step towards your goal for the month. So announce the family's goal for the next 4 weeks. Example, if your house is messy, your overarching goal is organization. And you can start with a simple daily action that everyone can do, like make their bed each morning. Now do this for 7 days until your next family huddle. If your goal is respect, the daily action could be waiting patiently to speak and avoiding interruptions. If your goal is gratitude, being more grateful, a daily action for each person in the family. This includes parents too, because remember, we're growing together as a team. Your daily gratitude action could be to make a statement of gratitude every evening at dinner before taking your first bite of food. You see, setting a measurable goal to accomplish each day throughout 7, 14, 21 days creates new healthy habits. That's why step 3 is so important. It's where the rubber meets the road. This is where everyone in the family begins to feel that positive momentum building, that they are capable of doing better and being a strong team player. So that's it. 3 steps to a more connected and thriving family. Connect consistently, communicate the calendar, and pursue a common goal. Progress is the name of the game. All you need to do next is meet up 1 week later, do a quick recap of the last week's goals, and praise people for specific action they took to grow in that particular goal. Maybe even have a family treat or do something exciting to celebrate any and all progress made. Positive praise only, ignore everything else. Each week, you'll simply follow the same 3-step process in your huddle and keep that going week after week. Guys, your family is the most important team you will ever be part of. So don't wait another week. If you just simply start by gathering your family on a Sunday evening to review the family calendar every week for the next month, that would be an awesome start. If you want to dive right in and take your family through this 3-step family huddle process where you set a goal for the month, review the family calendar, and then commit to daily action steps, go for it. The pages at the end of our guide are free for you to use in your huddle. You'll find a family huddle printout, a simple goal tracker, a weekly calendar, and useful cards for kids that help them track their weeks. Our store is full of products to help you achieve the best me I can be kids journal. It's a seriously fun guided journal for kids age 7 to 11. It builds self-confidence, inspires with true stories, and is full of fun riddles and jokes that kids love. It also promotes kindness and action through secret missions. And one final product that's just going to be a game changer is our couples coaching. All relationships have peaks and valleys, and sometimes you land in a place as a couple where you feel disconnected or maybe even resentful toward one another. One or both of you may even feel like you're running yourself ragged, trying to do everything for everyone. Our parent coaching helps you rekindle your relationship with your spouse and revitalize your family dynamic. And we think this is really going to transform your relationship. Now, listen, our online community is another free resource. Share your experience inside our private Facebook group, the Thrive Community by Families of Character. If you haven't joined, head on over today. We look forward to having you in our online community. Start your family huddle this week. And please remember, we are always in your corner. Now, stick around if you want to hear a few things that my family has learned since doing over 200 family huddles. That's coming next. Here are a few tips we've picked up along the way. The more positive and engaging you are in your huddles, the more your family will see the benefit of participating. Teams who have cheerleaders tend to perform better. Just saying. Now listen, the more humble you are as a parent, as the leader of your family, acknowledging that you too have room to grow in organization and respect and gratitude, all these awesome character strengths, the harder your kids will work to grow too. And if you have teens who think this sounds like a waste of time, just throw down a pizza or their favorite dessert and have the huddle while you're eating. Listen, if you're a single parent, guess what? Single parents are raving about the family huddle, even when the co-parent refuses to participate on their end too. They share that the huddle is a perfect transition when kids return to their home to set the stage for what their time together will look like and to help kids feel secure in their attachment and connection to that parent. And if your spouse or kids aren't excited about the family huddle, do not criticize them for it. You are introducing something new. If your spouse doesn't see the value or wants to skip out, positively encourage them to try it. Share our video with them. Invite them in. And if they decline, you continue the huddle with whomever will participate, and then continue to politely and positively invite everyone in the very next week. When you make it fun, people get curious and they want to join in. And finally, any and all progress, no matter how small, should be celebrated. So dial up the positivity, point out specific ways you noticed your family crushing their daily goals. Now, to wrap up, let me share something personal with you about what was happening at our house before we implemented family huddles. My husband and I honestly felt like we were blocking and tackling, managing things pretty much hour by hour. There was very little talk about what was coming next on our calendar. We were just surviving with the one thing we were doing at the moment. And because I had all kid activities written on my calendar, I was feeling fully responsible for everything. Our kids weren't prepared for their own activities because most days they didn't know what day of the week it was, let alone where they needed to go or what they needed to bring with them. And I remember my husband and I would say, we need a date night, but we could never look far enough ahead on the calendar to even schedule one. So they didn't happen. There was a lot of nagging and yelling because the only goals we were working towards were individual goals pertaining to our work. And those weren't even communicated aloud to anyone else in our family. After we implemented the weekly family huddles, our kids started becoming more interested in the events and activities on our calendar. They began asking meaningful questions about how things would work out according to the schedule. And this led to them making their own handwritten notes and reminders about the days and times they had sports and piano lessons. And then they would talk about what time they needed to be ready to go on that day and what equipment they needed to take with them. The level of personal responsibility in our kids soared. Looking at the many activities of the week and talking about them with our kids helped my husband and I realize we weren't making time for our relationship. So we started planning monthly date nights and entering them on the calendar right in our huddles. And this helped our kids better understand the importance of mom and dad getting away to work on our marriage. And it helped us to follow through with our commitment to spend quality time together again. Our oldest, who is about 12 at the time, he began stepping up and helping us plan fun family activities and even suggested a goal for us to travel to all 50 states in a 5-year period. He helped us look beyond the day to day and realize our potential to start new traditions and goals as a family. And now we've been to 36 of those 50 states. The benefits are endless. So don't delay. Start your family huddle this week. And check out our podcast, The Families of Character Show, for more helpful resources for all your parenting needs.